Welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Mejia, in Delaware, USA.
And me, Martin Ferber, in Preston, UK.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who'd like to know more about the fascinating subject of hypnosis and the benefits it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist.
I'm a retired medical doctor turned consulting hypnotist.
We are Two Hypnotherapists Talking.
So let's get on with the episode.
Okay, so Denise, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you believe it's the end of the year already?
I know, I'm the end of season one.
This is true.
I don't know where the weeks have gone. It's flown by.
It's this whole year has flown by for me. It's been a blur, which is good. It's also the reason that we're going to have a little break now at the end of the year.
Yeah.
To catch our breath, look at what we've done and what we're going to be doing next year. And amongst those things, of course, is this podcast. And we've decided, have we not, that it's going to be 3 seasons of 12 weeks?
Three seasons a year. So that's 2 more than Dynasty ever had. 3 seasons a year. And so, this is the end of season 1. We got season 2 starting on Sunday, the 8th of January.
Yeah, and that will be here before we know it.
Yeah, I know. Everything's mad busy everywhere at the moment. Mm-hmm. Even in works parties, people that don't celebrate Christmas, maybe some of them go to the Christmas party anyway to join in the festivities. Mm-hmm. Whatever, but it's a busy time of the year for everybody. Even if Christmas isn't your thing, you can't help but get caught up in the Christmas crowds and traffic and parking and everything else. So let's not stress our people out there any more than they already are.
You're suggesting that we stress them?
No, not at all. And if we do, we can help with that.
Make your own business, yeah.
So, we can't give too much away about what's going on in the new year. I've got 1 or 2 things in the pipeline. Hopefully, my book will be out before the end of this year. I'm still frantically trying to get that finished. And then 1 or 2 new things happening in January as well, because I'm actually working, as well as my practice in Preston and the clinic I work at in Blackburn, I'm going to be working at another private therapy clinic that has a team of 9 consultant psychiatrists. That's
really nice.
Yeah.
That's a great fit.
It's great to think that consultant psychiatrists are deeming hypnotherapy as, a viable treatment option. As in the truest sense of the word is what it is, a complementary therapy to complement what they do. Yep,
absolutely. That's very exciting.
So
of course, that leads into what my big project for next year, which is the launch of my What is Hypnosis course for medical physicians.
Yeah, of course.
Medical physicians, a bit redundant, but for physicians, allopaths, osteopaths, and that will be probably late February. I haven't got the dates actually correct yet, but we both need a little bit of a breather to make sure all the other little fires are burning nicely.
Absolutely, yeah. So we will be raring to go in the new year. So if you're listening to us now or watching us now and you've watched any of the other episodes of this series, thank you so much. It's been great having you on board with us. But that's it for this one. I'm going to pin a few different, I'm not going to call them highlights because that, I don't want to pick and choose between guests or anything like that. I'm just going to pick some bits at random from different episodes and tag them onto the end of this one. So, if you haven't watched any of the other ones or you've just watched a few of them, have a watch to the end of this recording today. And let's hope you enjoy some of the bits there. As I say, I'm not calling them highlights because every episode's been a highlight as far as I'm concerned. We've covered a lot of things, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And
of course, we're very happy to have people write in and ask us to talk about particular things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. In the show notes, if you're listening on a podcast, then whatever platform you're listening to it on, there's a space there with show notes in. Our contact details are on there. On YouTube, they're straight below in the comments box. You can contact either of us by email. We always love to hear from you. But we will be back on January the 8th.
Yeah, thank you. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate that.
Yeah, and happy holidays to everybody else, as they say over there in America.
And good luck with the traffic.
Yeah, thank you. I'll catch
Bye,
you in the
Martin.
new year. Bye-bye.
See you soon.
See
Bye.
you soon. Episode 2 saw Denise and I talking with Jason Langley, the teen anxiety coach.
What is the main message you would like the general public to know about hypnosis and the kind of work that you do? Other than you too can enjoy steak if you have hypnotism.
Just it's probably the same as you two feel as well, that hypnotherapy isn't that woo-woo kind of therapy. It's I was trained by CPHT, and their approach and their knowledge is all based on neuroscience. So when a client comes to me, I can back everything I say up with neuroscience. Not that many people out there that can kind of say that. So like I say, for me, it's just I love hypnotherapy. I really do. I talk about it all the time. I'm just trying to break down those barriers of someone standing there with a watch, or look into my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, focal points are fine. It's just unfortunate people fixed on the lovely Victorian pocket watch as the main focal point. Yeah.
So Jason, for the benefit of people who don't know anything about the type of hypnotherapy you do, could you sort of give a brief description of how a hypnotherapy session would be after the initial consultation? What would they expect to find each week when they come to see you?
Yeah, so after initial consultation, it's very set with what obviously we do. We can change obviously certain things depending on obviously what the client says. It's not sort of kind of like a one size fits all. It's it's there to be adapted to the client that's in front of you and their needs. So the first thing obviously we do is make them feel comfortable and happy in themselves. So we greet them with nice positive actions and words to help them get in their intellectual mind. To help them start, to produce that serotonin and start making them feel happy. And then we start talking about what's been good over the last week. So they do have a little bit of homework where they have to write their diary down. 3 things that have made them smile or be happy during the week. So that's quite nice. We then talk about a bit of brain revision. So if they say anything to me that I think, do you know what, I'm going to tell them a bit more about that. Help them understand why they're thinking that, or how they can change that part of their thinking as well. We then go on to the happiness scale. So how happy they are as they sit there in the chair. All of our hypnotherapy, we don't ask them anything about their past. We're great believers that we've lived the past, we've survived the past.
For people who are listening, who aren't hypnotists, this is your particular, not your particular, but the way you were trained, the school of hypnotherapy that you follow. You don't do any regression work, you don't do memory work. Now that's interesting with trauma. So I realize I'm stopping your flow there for a bit. If you're talking about PTSD, most people have heard that EMDR is very useful for PTSD, which also does not require you to relive the trauma, but your brain is processing the trauma. You are not quite thinking about it while it's working in your brain. How would your form of hypnotherapy work with PTSD?
So that's a great question. So with that, obviously, we do obviously a rewind and reframe technique, but with depending on what their PTSD is, the trauma is, we wouldn't revisit that. So let's just take someone that has trauma from the army, has lived obviously quite traumatic times, in Iraq or wherever in the world been. They may have an issue going to fill their car up with petrol, because the smell of petrol obviously brings back that trauma. Someone come to me with that sort of trauma, I wouldn't then go and relive their past. What I would do is try and reframe them going to the petrol station and making it more of a positive experience for them going to the petrol station. So they're not going there with the anxiety already building up going there, and then obviously maybe having flashbacks, panic attacks, when they're trying to fill their car up.
Are you able to change the response to that trigger of the smell of petrol?
Yes, yeah, because all we do is ask them how they would want their perfect situation of going to the petrol station is. So when they go into the relaxed state, we then go over that image again, that memory again. Obviously, we know that the brain can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. So them living.
So just to clarify, the memory you're talking about is going to the petrol station, not what was going on in Iraq.
So that they would be living that memory of going to the petrol station, and not having a panic attack, not having anxiety, having a great experience for them, going to the petrol station. And then, like I say, when they're in trance, so relaxed state, they would then be thinking about that image all the time, so it's embedded in their mind. So when they actually go back to the petrol station, the mind cannot go, right, this is a dangerous situation, because it's seen that perfect happy image for them. It overrides that image, and then they then go and have a great experience and don't relive.
I'm very amused by a great experience.
In episode 4 of Two Hypnotherapists Talking, we spoke with Dr. Sue Peacock.
In a typical, not that there's that many typical patients, but somebody who's been sent to you or somehow wound up at your door now that you're no longer within the NHS, but presumably somebody said, I know this psychologist, she'll probably be able to help you with your pain. What would be the first thing you would offer them? Obviously, you have an intake, which is probably longer than the 20 minutes that Martin and I do to make sure that it's not too.
I guess my first session is probably, they're all roughly an hour. I guess the first session, like you say, is the intake, finding out about the pain, what's it like, how long they've had it, what medications they're on, who else are they seeing, all that kind of stuff. What's the biggest impact on their life? What areas of life is it affecting? And then my last question tends to be:
excuse me, is there a lot of secondary agenda stuff?
I would say no. I think that's, thinking about the time in the pain clinic, there's probably only about 2 people that we've ever thought that about, and it was quite funny because the consultant that I used to work with, she was an anaesthetist, and she's retired now, bless her, but she was great. And we had this lady outside our room once, and pain clinics, well, all NHS clinics run late, don't we? And we was notoriously always running late in our clinics because we spent time talking to people and listening. And everyone who kind of was a regular kind of knew that, so it was fine, they didn't mind too much. But there was this one lady who was a new lady once, and she was getting really upset, and the nurse kept coming in, said, "You've got to hurry up, you've got to see this lady, she's in tears." So we kind of juggled things and got her in sooner. And she seemed reasonably genuine, like as best you can tell. And my colleague thought the same. And then as soon as we had finished, we looked out the window and saw her literally sprinting up the hill, running for a bus.
So that wouldn't be what I would refer to as secondary agenda. I think that would be sort of fraud. And on the other hand, maybe your session was so fabulous, she felt so much better. Yeah, I was thinking more the people, the agendas that people don't realize they have. Oh, they don't realize that they gain a lot of other sympathy. I mean, it runs out, but there is.
Yeah, I think
it stops the kids moving to Australia because mum's sick, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a few of those, but to be fair, I don't know that I've seen many of them. I think because of the nature, particularly of pain clinics in the UK, because it takes so absolutely ages to even get there, I think all that's kind of gone, and all the sympathy's been left behind years ago. So I don't very often see, even in my practice now, but I guess that's because of the people that refer to me, I don't see people who have had pain for like a year or so very often. It's normally people who've had pain for 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 years.
Now, do you feel that that's a failing of the system? Do you think it would be better if we could interrupt that cycle a little earlier in the...
Absolutely, yes. Which is one of the good things about what's starting to develop over here is they are having pain services in primary care. So that's a good thing if they're run properly and multidisciplinary. I think that would be good. And I think that's starting to happen now. So I think that is one positive thing that is changing.
Episode 6 of Two Hypnotherapists Talking saw us chatting with Carrie-Ann Apap from Arizona in the USA.
Are in the area. I think it's really good to get aligned with, physicians that are see the value of hypnosis. Of course, a lot of physicians see the value of it with smoking.
Yes. Yes.
So, smoking or weight loss or that type of thing. So in those cases, what I do to build that relationship with the physician is I ask for permission to send a letter to them and let them know that I'm working with their, especially if they've recommended, it's not a big deal. So I'll just say, thank you very much for the recommendation. But you just, this is what we're going to do. And so, then they see, oh, wow, this has been helpful. It's been successful. And they then will recommend.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of weight loss?
I used to. I'm not doing so much weight loss anymore. I choose to know why. I mean, I do it. I used to advertise big time for weight loss. And of course that brought a lot of clients in for that and had a lot of success with it. But I just, I don't do it as much. I do it, people call me to work with weight loss and we do it. That being said, I probably do more smoking than anything. I probably see people for smoking. Vaping is another thing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of vaping going on now.
Do you see many younger people? I mean, like adolescents who are vaping and that kind of...
Yeah, no, they haven't. They're still invincible,
Well, of course.
When they're in their teens, it's like, I'm going to conquer the world or whatever.
Yeah.
So I see young people whose parents I've maybe worked with, networking groups with, and they're having problems with socialization or, things like that.
College anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
Leaving home for the first time.
Right. Those are the kind of things that, I work with young people. And of course, athletes. I do work with athletes. It's
do you work with the aches and pains of it, or do you work with the performance enhancement? That sounds like steroids, but that's not what I meant.
But I work mostly with performance enhancement. Now, what sometimes comes with that, if someone has had a severe injury, say, they're playing football and they have a really bad injury, maybe an ankle injury or something, and they have to be in a wheelchair for a couple months, and and now it's a year later and they want to play football, but they have a lot of anxiety about going back.
Of course.
So injury types of things, I do that as well. So
it helps that your husband was a coach.
Well, that kind of introduced me to that area because, I did, like I say, I created the Masterful Athletes program for his ball players and his teams. And when I came here, a friend of mine's husband was the head wrestling coach, and he was using visualization and different things like that with his wrestlers. And so he approached me. He said, I want to create a program. And so we did that together.
Yeah.
So our program was You Zone It and You Own It.
In episode 8 of Two Hypnotherapists Talking, we spoke with Angela Farlam down under in Australia. We were talking recently, Denise and I, about the connection with NLP and hypnosis. And NLP is, we say, it is a form of hypnosis, repackaged, as it were. Yeah, I mean, well, you practice both. You've got qualifications in both. What do you feel the similarities are in techniques?
So with the NLP, it's the reason it got connected with hypnosis was because it's really, NLP was all about modeling excellence. And so the guys at the beginning of the journey in the 70s, Richard Bandler and John Grinder, who I've trained with in Australia, were studying excellence, people who were really good at what they were doing to replicate it. And they happened to study a famous hypnotist at the time, which was Milton Erickson. And Milton Erickson himself didn't even understand how he was getting these results, but they were modeling him. And this is where the language, the Milton language came out, the vague language that we use in hypnosis to guide people into trance. And then the meta model is it's the teasing out through listening to what people are saying so you can get that structure of how they're thinking. So it really helps with the journey and guiding somebody into trance as well. And understanding what they're doing on the inside when they're not.
Yeah, I was thinking particularly of some NLP techniques, sort of like the rewind or the swoosh method and that kind of thing.
All of that, yeah.
Because even in solution-focused hypnotherapy, we use some NLP techniques. There's little techniques borrowed from everywhere. And again, we were just talking about the other day, weren't we, Denise, about repackaging things. Solution-focused hypnotherapy, which I practice, is more or less the same as the part of your business where you do coaching. It's a similar kind of thing. It's all about keeping your eye on the desired result and helping the client use their own resources to get there.
Yeah. Right. And that's how I work. It's like, this is where you are. What do you want? So it's like desired state. Whereas, we can in NLP do regression, go back in time to collect insights and lessons and learnings, and it's like, but it's really solution focused. It's like
you can go back there to find out what it was you need to know. You don't need to spend a lot of time there. That's the point. Is where are you now and where are you going in the future? Because none of us really can go back. We can go take a peek and come back again.
That's right. That's it.
In episode 10, we were chatting with Samantha Chater in the UK.
When people ask me for what's the difference between these three things, I tend to say that hypnosis is kind of clear out some of the clutter, the things you need to deal with. And then meditation and mindfulness is what you go to for maintenance. Now, it's nice to I love having an extra hypnosis session here and there. It's so wonderful, but it's more of a treatment for whatever is bothering you. Whereas meditation and mindfulness is just is part of your practice.
It's a way of life is what it is. It's been consistent with, like, you've got formal practices and you've got informal practices. So formal would be like, maybe go in and do a body scan lying down for 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever your time duration. And that's the thing you're doing formally. Informally would be like maybe, brushing your teeth and just being aware of, or making a cup of tea and just being aware of, or using your senses to kind
of mindful eating.
Yeah. Mindful eating. Exactly.
How far do you go with mindful eating, Sam? How far do you go with mindful eating to the point of, if you're eating a piece of fish, for example, to start to think about the people who fished it? And
you can go into that. Yeah, you right.
could, but it might, you might have to think about it being clonked on the head. I'm plant-based, so I don't have to think about the death of my food. But it really is about really enjoying every bite, slowing down and appreciating what that sensation is at the moment.
It's not just enjoying, though, because not everything, you don't have to be judgmental with, or like, it could be that where, that sensation's different, and but it gives you kind of the laser focus into it to actually see what the nuances and the, do you know what I mean? The real, what we wouldn't notice because we're rushing. And I'm guilty of this. This is one of my big areas. I've had to work really hard on myself, and I still find myself, it's work in progress for me, I'll tell you.
We all are.
Slipping into kind of, get it down as fast as you can. And you eat past what we're listening to our bodies. We go past it, you know. So it's about, you know, getting yourself plonked down on that table rather than eating on the go,
TV.
really, isn't it? Because I find, you know, your phone and stuff, if it's there near me, you just go on automatic. And then I'm eating and I'm like, realise that's there. So I've moved the phone away into another room whilst I'm eating. And that's the only thing I'm doing. Everything else can wait.
Episode 12 of Two Hypnotherapists Talking saw Denise and I chatting with Nova Lewis in the UK.
At the end of this, when we do come out of this, with COVID, with now this cost of living crisis, what next? You know, it's like the mental health crisis in the UK is bad enough as it is. You know, the waiting list on NHS service, 6 months to a year just to get an appointment.
Yeah.
So how bad is it going to get? And we know that our NHS is...
And the effect on children and their mental health.
Exactly. And we know that a lot of mental health does start in childhood.
Insecurity.
Nova, can I ask, how old are your children?
So I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Okay, so they've both spent approximately 20% of their lives in lockdown. Which at those ages, I mean, a year seems to last forever. You know, you remember waiting from between your 10th and your 11th birthday, it lasts forever. So they have been through 2 years of lockdown. And then, as you say now, you know, we're into this cost of living crisis. I mean, you're a mum with young children. How have prices affected you? Because I know even, you know, at this end of the country, and there's just 2 in our house to feed. I'm noticing it when we're in the supermarket. You know, I'm spending 30% more than I was a year ago to get the same things. So some people are getting the same things, spending 30% more. Other people are only able to get 30% less.
I mean, we've had to set a budget on how much we can spend a day on food. It's as simple as that, because obviously, you know, heating's gone up, food has gone up so much. Something has to give. So there's, you know, we have to have that budget on what we can spend. And if we overspend, then it's like, well, the children, they're not going to get those, and we're not going to get those things that we like.
Right. And there's those other things like kids who manage to wear the same pair of shoes for 4 or 5 months, and then suddenly they go up a whole size because it's to be overnight, and you've got to buy shoes. So what aren't you going to eat in order to have money for that? This budgeting
I know. And it really is hard. It is very difficult. I mean, lockdown for us actually wasn't that bad because I've got 2 children with special needs. So for them not being at school, they quite enjoyed not being at school.
How did it affect you, though, homeschooling them?
It was hard. And they were refusing to do homeschooling, and they found that very difficult. It was actually getting them back to school because they struggle with change. So getting them back to school, that's the hard part, and that is still a struggle now. Actually being at school since the lockdown.
Really hard. A lot of people are struggling with. And even if we weren't in the cost of living crisis, that would still be a struggle. So. And that's another. Sorry, Martin.
Okay, I was just going to say, just going back to financial crisis thing for a minute or two, and just touching on something Nova said about credit cards. I know we've put that section away, but what happens with certain people when they are in dire financial straits, and you know the emotional brain takes over, and they start spending on a credit card uncontrollably? logically, they know they shouldn't do that, but the emotional brain takes over. And it's the same thing with eating. Logically, you know you shouldn't consume more calories than you're going to burn off, but nevertheless, you'll still do it because, you know, you're in your primitive brain. You know, I think as part of this mental health crisis that we're having at the moment, that, you know, we've yet to see the results of people starting to do desperate things like that because of the situation. It's the kind of thing people do when they are in dire straits. They'll just carry on regardless. You know, especially
with major holidays coming up, when overspending happens even in the best of times.
Yeah,
unwise spending. You know, the guilt of, you know, I can't. I'll buy you 5 books, okay, but I'll buy you a bike and of this and of that and the other.
Yeah,
and it's very difficult for people.
Yeah.
Well, that's the marketeers again. They, you know, talking of hypnosis, they know exactly how to get under people's skin and make you feel that your life is going to be so fabulous once you have this product. You know, didn't realize you needed yet. And, you know, it's, you know, your life will be perfect once you drink this drink or eat this food, and we'll all be sat around happy eating just like on the telecommercials. And that's how they get under the skin and create that, as we were talking about before, fear of missing out.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well, big thing, is addiction. So people are seeing things, you know, spend money on this, like gambling, or, you know, when you see it on an advert, you'll win X amount of money. People that are desperate, they're going to say, well, I'll just do a little bit. I'll just do a little bit, and I'll just try and win some money.
That's something, Nova, you've hit on, because correct me if I'm wrong, Denise, I think it's still the case, isn't it? Online gambling's banned in the States.
Yeah, but over here
you don't have online casinos and things.
We've got workarounds. It's not part of the culture I move in, but yeah, there's a lot of.
It's a big thing over here, you know, especially on a Friday and Saturday night about 10 o'clock, when they know people have come home from the pub, had a few drinks, and the resistance is low. All these gambling and online casino things come on television that are horrendous.
Yeah.
And when you think in this country, actual casinos, that your physical ones that you go into, are so strictly governed. There's no alcohol at the tables. You have to go to a separate bar area to drink alcohol. You can't tip the croupiers. It's really, really strictly controlled. And yet this online stuff it's just a free-for-all. That talk about consumer addictions, that is terrible, absolutely terrible.
And when people are desperate and they need money, it's so easy. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to access, and then it just draws you in, and that's it.
We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.
If you found this episode useful, you can apply for free continuing professional development or CME credits using the link provided in the show notes. Feel free to contact either of us through the links in the show notes.